Hello, Professor. So for my 24 hours recall assignment, I interviewed my boyfriend just because he's he's convenient, obviously, and I spent a lot of time with him, so it was easy to tabulate what exactly he was eating. So anyways, so for overall, I had predicted that he had eaten about 2,500 calories. And I felt it was a little bit excessive just because he did have McDonald's on his way over. He doesn't have McDonald's every day, but he does have McDonald's about, or a fast food, 2 to 3 times a week. And we just wanted to be honest and see, how might that actually affect his health, and his nutritional balance. So, um, yeah, and he is looking at this assignment with me, so we do want to see, just how things like that might affect his health or his nutrition. Okay. In terms of nutrients, I think he's adequate in his nutrient intake. Um, just because we do have a lot of fruits and vegetables in our diet. We try to keep a big variety of it in our diet, just because we both are trying to lose weight, and we feel like that has definitely helped us stay healthy and nourished, as well as helping us achieve our weight loss goals. Um, in terms of nutrient poor items, I think obviously the McDonald's Big Mac and the large fry and the Coke probably weren't um all that healthy nutrient wise, but we kind of already knew we kind of already thought that, but we still wanted to see just how it would affect his nutrient balance for the day, as well as how it compared to a home cooked meal, or some home cooked meals that we had for the morning and for dinner. So um, okay. In terms of nutrient density, the hamburger and the fries, they probably don't have a lot of nutrients. Like, they don't have fiber. I don't suspect that it has a lot of micronutrients like calcium or vitamin D or vitamin C, um, or vitamin E. I don't suspect it has a lot of those vital micronutrients. Um, I suspect it has an overabundance of of other nutrients like fats, saturated fats, and trans fats, salt, um, and sugars. Uh, but yeah, um, in terms of more healthy nutritional items that I think that are more nutrient dense are the carrots, butternut squash, and broccoli. So for dinner, we had chicken curry with vegetables. So chicken curry with mushrooms and squash and onions, and then for the soup, we had like broccoli cheddar soup. So I think that the broccoli, the carrots, and we also had carrots in the in the curry, but I think the broccoli, the carrots, and the butternut squash are particularly healthy, just because I suspect they have a lot of fiber, and I suspect that they don't have too much fat, and I suspect that they have good vitamins and minerals. So overall, I'm hopeful that he's not really deficient in anything. Um, so yeah, okay. Let's see where did yeah. Um, oh, there we go. So after tabulating the calories with the MyFitnessPal food tracker, we were a little bit surprised by some items, but not so much by others. Okay, so apparently, 55% of the calories had come from fat, and that was largely due because of the McDonald's. But actually, most of the fat came from McDonald's. um, it was surprising though how bad it was because McDonald's was the majority of the saturated and trans it was almost all of the saturated and trans fats. It was that source alone pushed him over the RDAs for those, and then sodium, it was also about like 70 or 65% of his daily intake. So it did have a lot of salt. It had a lot more salt than I suspected. A lot more, just a lot more fat also. We really didn't expect it to have so much, um, but yeah, lesson learned. What's it called? And as we suspected, there wasn't a whole lot of nutrients, and in the McDonald's, there really is a deficiency in calcium, in vitamin D, in vitamin C, vitamin E. It doesn't have a lot of nutrients. It's definitely not something you could subsist on alone. Um, so yeah. In terms of calories, there was definitely an excess of calories with, a sacrifice of nutrients in the McDonald's. And then, for the purposes of this assignment, we used McDonald's for the tabulation, but we did look into some other fast food items that we enjoy. And we found, similar things. There's generally a lack of micronutrients and fiber. There's definitely an excess in fats, sugars, and uh, salt. So yeah. In terms of the butternut squash, the carrots, and the broccoli, alone they don't all provide adequate vitamins and minerals. But together they do provide a significant source of vitamins and minerals. Tabulating with all the other snacks we had throughout the day, we like to snack on like berries and carrots and dip. But we do try to include vitamin or fruits and vegetables even in our snacks. So overall nutritionally he wasn't deficient in anything except he had like a slight deficiency in potassium um and iron. That is something that's not too abundant in uh butternut squash, and carrots. So the big sources of that are like red meats, uh just meat, so chicken, poultry, or sorry, red meat, pork, and poultry, as well as there are non-heme sources, such as legumes, spinach, and dark leafy greens. However, according to our textbook, um, as you might be already aware, non-heme sources of, non-animal sources of iron are a little bit more difficult to absorb iron. So that is a particular concern for us. Um, in terms of importance, according to the textbook again, iron is important for oxygenation of our tissues, and deficiency can lead to uh, compromises in circulatory function. So that is something that we are a little bit concerned about, just because being heart healthy is a priority, just because he is a little bit bigger, he's a little bit on the heavier side. So we do want to try to protect his health, and we try to consider, or that is something that we are considering, making sure we get enough iron in our diet. In terms of potassium, you know according to the textbook again, so Potassium intake is important for proper potassium to sodium balance and important for proper heart function. And potassium intake can help mitigate the effects of sodium on blood pressure. So, you know, blood pressure is an important thing that we are trying to prevent against, increasing blood pressure because he does have a history of blood pressure and his high blood pressure in his family as well as obesity in his family. So um, those kinds of issues are something that we are trying to mitigate against, protect against. Okay, so oh, all right, all right, and then overall, I mean, I think this tabulation of calories was helpful for him. He is looking over those results as we go along. So I think it was a valuable learning experience for him, to help him get a better understanding of how like fast food compares to healthy eating, home cooked meals. Um, just the stark difference between the two. It's like night and day. So I did want to try to emphasize that with him. And it does play a fact or a role in how I set my recommendations. So for my recommendation